Well, good Sunday morning, everyone. This is my third Sunday behind the camera again, or in front of the camera again, I guess, is actually more accurate. And it is your third Sunday joining me online from your living room or from your kitchen or from wherever you are at the moment. I'm just glad that you're here, that you care enough, that you're interested enough, that you want to study the Bible with us here at Concord Road. We're working our way here, obviously. For those of you who've been with us, you know this, but maybe you're tuning in for the first time. We're in the book of Proverbs, and we are in chapter 22. And so if you've got your Bibles, you'll want to open them to Proverbs chapter 22. Last week, we covered the first 16 verses. Today, we're going to start at verse 17. We're going to finish up Proverbs chapter 22. We're going to get into chapter 23. I'm mighty confident of that. And who knows? We may get pretty deep into chapter 23. We'll see. Okay, are you ready? Let's take a look. Verse 17. What you have beginning in verse 17 is actually a section that's going to continue for a couple of chapters. From verse 17 of chapter 22 all the way through verse 22 of chapter 24, you basically have what most people call the 30 sayings, and where do not do this. So you got these sayings, and so we're going to take a look at all these sayings in these next couple of chapters here. But first of all, verses 17 through 21 is basically an introduction to these 30 sayings. Let's just read those verses real quick, shall we? Verse 17 says, "Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your mind to my knowledge." Okay, it starts out with an exhortation to listen. Incline your ear and hear the words of the wise. Apply your mind to my knowledge. I'm going to give you some knowledge. I'm going to give you some good stuff, he's saying. I'm going to give you some things that are going to bless your life. Listen up. Put down that phone. Turn off that TV. Get those earbuds out of your ear. I want you to listen to what I have to say, he says. All right, verses 18 and 19. Why should you listen? Oh, verse 18. For it will be pleasant if you keep them within you, that they may be ready on your lips, so that your trust may be in the Lord. I have taught you today, even you. A couple of reasons to listen, because you're going to be drawn closer to God. Verse 19, so that your trust may be in the Lord. The more you're listening, the more you're going to be drawn closer to God. And you're going to develop real integrity. That you may be ready, that they may be ready on your lips. Now, notice the level of listening here, by the way. The level of listening here is not in here and out there. The level of listening is in here, down here, up here, and it just kind of is locked in. That they may be ready, keep them, they will be pleasant if you keep them within you. See, not in here and out there, in here, down. Keep them within you so that they will be ready on your lips. You meditate on them. You think on them. That's why one of the recommendations I have for people, hey, listen, we're at the first of the year. Why don't you start this now if you haven't been doing it? Read one chapter of Proverbs a day. For how long? How about the rest of your life? One chapter of Proverbs a day for the rest of your life. Let it go in. Let it go down. Let it go up. Let it be ready on your lips, and it's going to be pleasant to you. It's going to help you develop integrity and draw you closer to God. Okay, let's look at verse 20 and 21 now. It's a description of what follows. Have I not written to you excellent things of counsels and knowledge to make you know the certainty of the words of truth, that you may correctly answer him who sent you. Well, that is a great, great verse. You know, this was a verse at the end of Ecclesiastes that, man, it's so connected with that beautiful statement there in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, beginning in verse 9, you know, and it goes through the end there, the whole idea of Solomon who sought out and he looked into and he gave attention to the word, and he wrote words that were absolutely true and correct. And that's one of the great, that the words of truth. It's the only book in the world that you can take to the bank everything that it says, so that you can correctly answer him who sent you. You have the answers to life. Not an answer, the answer. They may reject it as the answer when you answer them, but it is the answer. It is excellent things. It is excellent counsel and excellent knowledge. It is true. Okay. Wow, he's really set us up now for these 30 sayings, these important sayings. So let's look at saying number 1, verses 22 and 23. Do not rob the poor because he is poor, or crush the afflicted at the gate. For the Lord will plead their case and take the life of those who rob them. All right. The first excellent counsel is this. If you are powerful, if you are in a position of power, you better not exploit people who have less power. If you are powerful, you better not take advantage of your power to exploit them. Now, he talks about here, verse 22, the afflicted at the gate. This again is a legal setting. You know, we've seen this throughout Proverbs. The background of so much of this counsel is kind of a legal setting. And at the gate is a place where legal issues were dealt with and legal matters were considered and resolved. And so you had the elders sitting at the gate, and people would bring their grievances or, you know, their charges. They would, plead for satisfaction or relief or what is right and just at the gate. And so basically, he's saying that the original setting here to people who are powerful, don't, if you're powerful, you better not use legal devices to exploit the poor. That would have been very possible to do back then. It's even possible to do now. We fortunately live in a corner of the world that tries, as well as any country, I believe, to have a system of laws and a structure of jurisprudence that tries to prevent people from being able to legally exploit weak people. But the principle goes beyond courts. Even though the background here is court, the principle goes beyond it. If you're powerful, don't exploit people who are less powerful, that can be taken advantage. Don't take advantage of them, because poor people, some people are powerless and can be easily taken advantage of. Do not take advantage of them. You will stand before God. That's what verse 23 is. The Lord will plead their case and take the life of those who rob them. You will stand before God. You may get away with it, exploiting people, but in the here and now. But ultimately, you're going to stand before God, and He's going to be their lawyer and judge. That's saying one. Don't exploit weak people. Okay, look at saying two, verse 24 and 25. Do not associate with a man given to anger, or go with a hot-tempered man, or you will learn his ways and find a snare for yourself. Basically, the principle here is this: choose your friends and your associates carefully, because they are going to affect your character. Choose your friends and associates carefully. They will affect your character. If you run with people who do stupid things, you will do stupid things. If you run with people who do criminal things, you will do criminal things. This goes back to what we saw earlier. The prudent sees the evil and hides himself. That's verse 3 of chapter 22. But the naive go on and they're punished for it. This is a concrete example of this. Wise people see the character of others and go, yeah, I don't think I'm going to hang around him. I don't think I'm going to hang around her. Yeah, I think I'm going to choose somebody else to hang around. And it is to their benefit. And then others, for whatever reason, they choose that person. They choose that person of weak character. And as a result, it affects them in a negative way. So, saying 1, the principle is do not exploit people who are weaker than you. Do not exploit them. Do not take advantage of them. Saying 2 is this: choose your friends and choose your associates very carefully. It is going to affect you. Well, in the New Testament, the principle will be, you know what it is. Evil companionships corrupt good character. Okay. Look at saying number 3. This is verse 27 and 28. Do not be among those who give pledges, among those who become guarantors for debts. If you have nothing with which to pay, why should he take your bed from under you? More financial counsel. I keep telling you this. The Proverbs is all about wise living and gives us wisdom for every arena in life. The counsel here, this saying number 3 is this: stay out of entanglements in debt. Stay out of them. Do not be among those who give pledges. Now, listen, this isn't talking about where we have a pledge drive at church for a building fund and we say, what can you pledge? Look deeply, consider with your spouse, think deeply on the mission, the purpose, the benefit, and pray about it. And we ask you to make a pledge. This is not that. This is, in the context of it, the second part, among those who become guarantors for debts. This is a legal debt. A guarantor for a debt is someone, basically, we call it a cosigner. Now, again, it's not, you haven't sinned if you cosign something, okay? It's just saying, be careful. It's not wise. Now, listen, you may know a circumstance, and I'm not going to presume to judge a particular circumstance. There may be a particular circumstance that I would be willing. It would be a very rare one. It would be very rare. But I'm just saying, it's not a sin to do that. It's not usually wise to do that. But look at verse 27. Why? Well, if you have nothing with which to pay, why should he take your bed from under you? Why should he take your bed? The word bed here is used kind of as a collection word, a collective word to really describe all that you have at home. And the picture here, the idea that, the bed is a place of rest. It's your home. The idea here is, you have co-signed for somebody. They have not lived up to their obligation and their commitment. And now you are responsible for it. And the consequences are going to be on you. So, stay out of entanglements in debt. Be careful. Oh, my goodness. These first 3 of 30 sayings, man, they're good. Let's look at saying number 4. Look at verse 28. Do not move the ancient boundary which your fathers have set. Do not move the ancient boundary which your fathers have set. In ancient days, these were boundary stones. These were legal markers where one person's land began and one person's land ended. What do you think would be the purpose of moving a boundary stone? Yeah, it's stealing. It's stealing land is what it is. And nobody's around. I think maybe, 12 feet over, I've got this access to this great resource. Man, it just stops right short of I will move the stone over. This is stealing land. So the principle is bigger than land. It is do not steal. Period. There may be times when the temptation is great. Do not steal. Do not steal, physical stuff. Do not steal credit, for something that doesn't belong to you. Do not steal from another person. Okay, saying number 5, take a look at it. It's verse 29, the last verse of chapter 22. Told you we're going to finish chapter 22. We'll get into chapter 23. Verse 29, saying number 5. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men. Now, what do you think that says? See, it's times like this that I wish that you were right here in front of me. I'd love to get your input on. What do you think that says? Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men. I would love to hear you tell me what you think that's saying. I got the sense that, most of you would go, oh, this is what it means, and you'd be absolutely right. I'll tell you what, while I take a drink, why don't you take about 3 seconds to think about it? I bet you know. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings. Quality work will be recognized. It will be. This is why it's really important when you're teaching your kids or someone who might come to you for counsel, and they may not like what they're doing. They may not like their position in the company. They may not, they may feel they deserve something, better, something with more responsibility. What do you tell them? How about this? How about helping them embrace this truth? That, look, quality work is going to be recognized. You come to work and you do a good job and it'll get noticed. It will get noticed. It always gets noticed. And so don't be satisfied with good enough. Don't be satisfied with good enough. Do what is right. Do excellence. Do excellence, and it will get noticed. You don't like where you're at, you work hard. It'll get noticed. You'll stand before kings, not literally, but it means that it's going to be noticed and your position is going to change. You will not stand before obscure men. Quality workers, people who do good work, move up. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Okay, chapter 23 now. Let's take a look at it. We got about 10 minutes left. Let's go on. Saying number 6 here is in the first 3 verses of chapter 23. Let's take a look. When you sit down to dine with a ruler, ooh, that sounds fun. Going to dinner with the boss. Going to dinner with the king. Going to dinner with the senator, the prez, whatever. When you sit down to dine with a ruler, consider carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat If you are a man of great appetite, do not desire his delicacies, for it is deceptive food. Ooh. Boy, this is great. This is great counsel. I love the picture here. Put a knife to your throat if you're a man of great appetite. Now, it almost sounds like he's saying, take extraordinary measures not to overindulge. Well, yeah, but not in the sense of overindulging in, like that second piece of chicken. It's not like that or anything. That second helping of mashed potatoes. I always go for two. Don't judge. Okay. So, it's not that. What does he mean, put a knife to your throat? Consider carefully what's before you. Put a knife to your throat. Listen, don't overindulge. Don't desire his delicacies, for it is deceptive food. What he means by that, what this is saying is this. Be careful when you're feasting with the rich and the powerful. They don't give away their favors for free. Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. That's what it's saying. They're going to want something in return. And the something that they want in return may cost you dearly. Be very careful. It may even cost your soul. It may even cost you your soul. So be very careful. Oh, this is such a wise saying for young people starting out. Well, not just people of every stage of life and their career. Be careful. Be careful what be careful when you're, and again, it doesn't have to be literally sitting down to dine with a ruler. It just means, be very, very careful of how cozy you get with people in power. You may benefit from that, but it's going to cost you. They don't bring you along for free. So, yes, beware. Great counsel there. Be careful. Let's look at saying number 7. That's verse 4 and 5 of chapter 23. Do not weary yourself to gain wealth. Cease from your consideration of it. When you set your eyes on it, it is gone. For wealth certainly makes itself wings, like an eagle that flies toward the heavens. The picture of wealth flying away. You got that stack of dollars and there's wings attached to it and it just flies away from you. I think what he's saying here is pretty self-evident. Wealth can be a mirage. Don't be consumed with trying to attain it. It is so elusive. It can be lost. It can be stolen. It can be taken away. It's the same. Jesus is saying the same thing in the Sermon on the Mount. Don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust corrupt and thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures on heaven. Now, again, he's not saying that we shouldn't make reasonable provision for the future. We've already saw back in chapter 21, there's precious treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise. Foolish people spend everything that they get. They swallow everything up. You got to make reasonable provision for the future. This is just simply saying, again, there's balance here. That's what we've been saying, balance. Don't be consumed with trying to attain it. It's a mirage. It's so elusive. You spend all your time trying to gather it and it just goes right through your fingers. Or the picture here, it sprouts wings and it flies away. Okay, let's look at verse 6. We're at saying number 8 now. Do not eat the bread of a selfish man or desire his delicacies. For as he thinks within himself, so he is. He says to you, eat and drink, but his heart's not with you. You will vomit up the morsel you have eaten and waste your compliments. He's basically saying there is kind of a presumption here. It is assuming that, and this isn't, again, these are Proverbs. Not every person of great wealth is a selfish, inconsiderate person who has no interest whatsoever in your well-being. It's not saying that. But that's the case a lot of times. And he's saying cultivating friendships with selfish, self-centered, wealthy people is a waste of your effort. It is a waste of effort. He's saying they don't really care about you. Don't eat the bread of the selfish man or desires that. For as he thinks within himself, so is he. He says to you, eat and drink, but his heart's not with you. He really doesn't care about you. And you're spending all this time trying to cultivate a relationship. But listen, the minute you do not benefit him anymore, you're gone. You're out. You're out. He doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about you. You're gone. And and he describes it this way. You're going to vomit up the morsel. And so you've wasted all of your effort. He says you've wasted your compliments. You wasted all your efforts trying to get in good with this situation. Listen. Don't exhaust yourself cultivating those kind of relationships. There's far better relationships to cultivate with people who genuinely care about you, people who are going to bless your life, people who are going to be an encouragement to you, people who are going to be a blessing to you, people who will really be there for you when the bottom falls out of life. Those are the kind of people that you want to spend time cultivating relationships with. Okay, we're about at 28 minutes. I think we've got time for one more. What about you? Okay, let's do it. Verse number 9. This is saying number 9. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. Sometimes you just don't need to waste your time talking, because you're talking to someone who is stubbornly unresponsive. Listen, this is a hard thing to do. It's really hard, especially when we care about the person. It may be a close friend, it may be a family member, and you see their circumstance of life and you know the answer. You know the answer. And you've tried. And they resist. And they sometimes take offense. And sometimes want to quarrel. And you just learn that they're not ready for it. And so when opportunities present themselves again, you know they're still where they're at in their mindset and their attitude. And so you just don't say much. You're wasting your effort. You're wasting it. Don't waste sound teaching on stubborn, obstinate, unresponsive people. The time may come when their heart will soften and it will begin to open, and they will begin to be open to wisdom. But until then, don't waste your time. Okay, well, we are through 9 of the 30 sayings. Man, these are great. I can't wait till next Sunday, where we start verse 10 with saying number 10. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so glad you joined us. I hope you'll join us next Sunday. We'll be right back here. Same time, same place. Tune in. Lord willing, I'll see you Sunday. Until then, take care and God bless.